Hola, bienvenidos. As you guys can see from the title today, I'm just bringing that one down because I don't want it to fall. Today I want to do a follow-up of a video I did last year, almost to the day. I think I'm a day late or a day early from when I posted it last year. And it was my Pan That Palette hypothetical. If I were to choose a Pan That Palette, what would I choose? And I showed you guys some options. Now, what I did instead behind the scenes, because I figured I would give you guys an update on it, is instead of obviously picking a Pan That Palette, because I will most likely in my lifetime never pick a palette to pan completely. I don't find that to be fun for me. I don't find it to be exciting. I'd rather rotate and hit pans and play around with more of my eyeshadow palettes because I have way too many. But I thought to myself throughout the year, how many pans can I hit in each of these palettes? Did I hit any pans in any of them? Did I not bother or completely forgot about some of these palettes? So I ended up sharing with you guys 13 eyeshadow palettes, and I do have down what it is, how many pans, if any, that I had in each palette, and then how many did I gain out of it. I thought it would be fun, and I'm going to do this for this year as well. I will choose some more palettes for 2023 and give myself a year to reach for these palettes to at least get a pan in them if I possibly can. So that is my version of Pan That Palette. I think it's a lot more fun for me, and it encourages me to pick palettes that I know I want to show more love to and have pans in them to show that I actually love them. So if that's something that interests you, stay tuned. But first, if you're new, Alejandra, I go by Alex, eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash of Project Pan. If that is something you want to continue to see on your feed, subscribe and join us. And now let's get on with this video. All right, so these are in no particular order. I have 13 palettes. They're all different sizes. And these palettes, I'm very surprised. I will tell you what this exercise made me do, because I do want to share that with you guys. One, it allowed me and reminded me to keep these palettes in my brain, in the back of my brain. Anytime I did a project pan where I wanted to throw in an eyeshadow palette, or if I had a choice, these palettes came to mind. I always thought about these palettes, and even on my own, I have hit pan on some of these palettes without even bringing them into a project pan. So I actually found this to be useful, resourceful for me, and it made me put these palettes in the back of my mind but not forget them, which is fun, because with so many palettes that I do own, it can get overwhelming and I do forget about certain palettes. So I already have a basket full of this year that I want to do for next year, within the next year. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming up sometime this month or next month, so you guys can see, and then you guys can encourage me like you did last time. Okay, so the first one I wanted to share with you guys was the Sonia Kashuk Moroccan Dunes Quad in here. I had 0 pans in here, and unfortunately, I still have 0 pans. Have I reached for this palette? Yes, I have. I have actually reached for it, but I never brought it into a project pan, nor did I concentrate on it. So I failed on this one, but at least I got some use out of it. I did at least touch it a few times, which is more than I can say before I put it in this kind of video. Then we have the Urban Decay Naked. I really wanted to hit pan on one of these. You guys, 0, 0, 0, 0. Mine looks pretty fresh and new because I never bought this one when it first released within the first few years. I mean, it was towards the end of its lifetime that I purchased this palette, so mine's pretty new, and as you guys can see, it's barely used. So I did not hit pan on this one. I did think about it, I really did, but I failed completely on this palette because I didn't even touch it once. I can't remember touching it one time, and it's a shame because it is a pretty palette, but I just got it. All the project pans I did this year just took up so much of my time, and I am going to change that for next year to be able to rotate more through my makeup. So this one is another fail in every single way you could think of. Then I shared with you guys this one, the BH Royal Affair. This one I rolled in with 0 pans in it, and it still has 0 pans in it. This palette, I don't use often throughout the year. It's mainly concentrated on a certain season, and I think that's why. But I also didn't put it in a project pan when I needed to because of the color story. It's just, I don't know. I will say I did forget about this one a little bit. I remembered this palette more this time of year, but it's too late because it's been a year. So I didn't hit pan on it. I didn't 100% forget about it like the Urban Decay Naked, but it still didn't get the use that it should have. The Lorac Pro palette was the next palette I share with you guys, and this is by far my most used and loved palette in my whole entire makeup collection. I brought this in already with 7 pans, and I wanted to hit pan on a shimmer shade, and I actually did. I hit pan on Nude, which you could kind of see it right there. So I actually did meet my goal in trying to hit pan on another palette, or hit pan on another shade in here. I still want to play around with this one. This is no longer in production, which is sad because I wish I would have known that, because I would have bought a backup of it, because it is one of my favorites. It truly, truly is, and I still think about it. I still use it and love it. So yeah, I met my goal in this one. So that's one good one. Too Faced Chocolate Bar. I rolled this in with 0 pans, and I was determined, knowing that the Too Faced formula is very, very tough to hit pan on. And I will say I have hit pan on this shade right here. So at least I got 1 pan in it. That took me months to hit pan. And I have used other shadows in here. So it's not like that was the only one that I used. I used a lot of this shade, like this area over here, that purple one. So I did get some use out of it. So this is another one where I have met my goal on, and I have hit a pan in that one. Anastasia Modern Renaissance. I really was rooting for this one. I really thought about this one, and every opportunity that it came up, I was like, ooh, that one, ooh, that one. I brought this in with 1 pan, hoping to get a second one, and did not. I have dips in like the reds. I have dips in this warm taupe, but unfortunately nowhere near hitting pan on any of the other ones. I'm still thinking about figuring out this one because I still want to hit pan on another shade of this one, but I did fail. So that's a failure in this round. Coastal Scents Natural. Now, I think by far this is my oldest palette, period, end of story, in my whole entire collection. I brought this in with 1 pan. And you guys, I am up to 3 total in here. This one has pan, this one has pan, and this one originally already had pan in it. This palette, I still like. I still really do like it. The formula is still working fine for me. I kind of accidentally gouged that one, so maybe I'll try to hit pan on that one. But I'm still working on this one. Still chucking along, you guys. Still chucking along. So I not only was able to meet 1 pan, I was able to hit 2 pans in this palette. So this is a total win, complete total win. I did roll that one in a project pan, so that helped out a lot. BH Cosmetics Weekend. This one had 1 pan, and I was able to meet and get a second pan in here, which was down here. I put this in a project pan, so it helped me out tremendously. This is one of my favorite Colorful Story palettes that I've told you guys a million times over. This is the palette that got me to love color all over again. I was a little bit like dormant when it came to colors, and then this woke me up, and I love it. So this holds a special place in my heart, and I wanted it to look more loved, and I'm so happy that it does. I may want to get more pan in this one next year, so that's a win in my book. Violet Voss Holy Grail. This one I rolled in with 1 pan, and again, I was able to hit a second pan. I put this in a project pan, and I was able to hit a second pan here. This is the pan that I already had down here. So yeah, this is another palette where I want to get more love to it. It's really easy. The pans are really thin, so it's really easy to hit pan on these. So that's a win. BH Cosmetics Naughty Palette. Ooh, this one I thought about a ton. I did reach for it quite a bit. I had 1 pan in it, and I unfortunately was not able to get another pan in this palette. But it is Christmas time. I'm giving myself some hope. Maybe I'll start to add it more into my Christmas looks. I did reach for like the warmer shades this summer up here and up here, so I was able to get some use out of it, but unfortunately that was a fail because I was not able to hit pan, and I have quite a bit of dips in that palette, and I did not get a chance to hit pan on that one. Jaclyn Hill, the original palette. I had 0 pans in here, and I continue to have 0 pans. Did not touch it once. Did not touch it once, unfortunately. Again, I tell you guys all this all the time. Larger palettes I forget about because they're so big. They take up a lot of space on my vanity, and I have to change that in order for me to enjoy it, because this is a really good palette in my opinion. I like it. I don't love it, but I do like it. So it's a fail. I didn't hit pan on any of those, and it didn't get rolled into any project pans either. 2 more palettes. Too Faced, the Little Lady palettes, because of the pink, I think of Too Faced. Little Lady palette. I rolled this in, and it had 0 pans in it. I was able to accomplish and hit a pan in here. This was not in any project pan at all whatsoever. This was me genuinely reaching for it. I really had fun with this palette during the summertime, but I didn't get to get another pan, but at least I got one. So that is a win. So it goes into my win pile. All right, last but not least was the Revolution, the Emily Edit palette. This is a palette that I wanted to hit pan on something. It had 0 pans in it, and it continues to have 0 pans. Did I reach for it? Yes, but I did not concentrate on it long enough to be able to hit pan on any of these shades. This is another fall winter-esque palette, so I am hoping that I can pull this out this time of year and be able to incorporate it into my looks, and that way maybe I'll hit pan on it organically. Okay, so out of the 13 palettes, 7 stayed the same with no additional pans, and 6 of them have an extra pan or 2 in them. So that if I had 14, that'll most likely been half and half. That's pretty close, you guys. That's pretty close. I did rather well considering I had a lot of project pans. I have a pan those eyeshadows. I have other project pans where eyeshadows are constantly getting thrown in, and I organically reach for palettes on their own without me putting them in project pan. So I didn't do so bad. 7 to 6, that is not bad. It could have been far worse, but I love this exercise. I loved how it panned out for me. No pun intended on that one. I was able to get more pan in my makeup collection, in my eyeshadow palettes. Eyeshadows are the biggest a collection or category in my makeup collection, whether it's in palettes, singles, duos, Z palettes, you name it. I have a ton of eyeshadows. So if I have more pan in my eyeshadows, that makes me feel a little bit better, because I don't have a ton, nowhere near the amount of products in any other category. So I mainly concentrate on eyeshadows. The other stuff is just a little bit more easier for me to stick to one to hit pan on. This is a little bit harder because it's harder for me to concentrate on just one palette. So yay me. I still think this is a win. I love this. So stay tuned for a future video of 2023's picks. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Did you like this exercise? Did you like this version of Pan That Palette my way? I will be doing it like I mentioned to you, so stay tuned, you guys. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. This was fun. So thank you guys so much for watching. More videos on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then, adios.